Building the Giza plateau required more than just moving limestone blocks. It required a massive daily input of human energy. To see the full scale of the operation, we have to look past the stone and calculate the caloric math needed to keep thousands of laborers hauling those stones. The builders were not paid in silver or gold. Their primary economic reward was a daily ration of thick, cloudy beer. This liquid paycheck was paired with a constant supply of dense, heavy bread. Extracting enough energy from the Saharan soil to power an empire was a brutal physical compromise, and it left a permanent record on the bodies of the workers. The labor began with Emmer wheat. Unlike modern varieties, Emmer kernels are encased in tough, protective spikelets that refuse to separate during a normal harvest. To reach the grain, workers had to moisten the crop and spend hours pounding it with heavy wooden pestles to loosen the chaff. Once cleaned, the wheat was milled on a saddle quern, a flat stone slab. As workers pushed a smaller stone back and forth to grind the flour, the friction caused the tools to shed tiny fragments of quartz and sand into the food. This grit acted as a daily sandpaper that ground the dental enamel down to the pulp. The skeletal remains of these laborers show the results: severe decay and bone-deep abscesses. Accepting this dental damage was the only way to hit the necessary calorie counts. For the workers, eating sand was the price of survival. While the bread was a physical burden, the thick, porridge-like beer was a brilliant, unintentional feat of biochemistry. The process started by letting raw grains sprout in water. This biological trigger generates an enzyme called amylase. Mixed into cooked grain, these enzymes cleave complex starches into simple sugars. Adding yeast produced a low-alcohol slurry packed with carbohydrates, amino acids, and B vitamins. This mastery of enzymes turned a raw crop into a safe, liquid fuel, allowing a workforce to stay hydrated in a climate where untreated water was often a vector for disease. Written records from elite observers like Herodotus claim that Egyptians found pigs deeply unclean and cows too sacred to eat. But the garbage pits at the Giza workers' village tell a different story. They are filled with thousands of butchered pig, sheep, and cattle bones. The lower classes also utilized local wild proteins, including mice and hedgehogs. To cook a hedgehog, they encased the animal in white river clay and placed it in the fire. Roasting hardened the mud into a shell. When cracked open, the clay grips and rips the spikes out, cooking the meat in a single step. While workers used mud to butcher hedgehogs, the elite were force-feeding geese to produce foie gras and wearing melting cones of perfumed animal fat on their wigs. In a society driven by manual labor, the need for calories overrides the theological rules and luxury aesthetics of the upper class. The core of this ancient diet, a base of lentils, onions, and garlic, persisted for millennia, appearing in tomb paintings and remaining a staple into the 19th century as kosher. When the Suez Canal opened, international trade routes began crossing at Alexandria's docks, bringing new ingredients into contact with that ancient lentil base. Italian trade networks introduced cheap dried macaroni, while shipping routes from Asia brought a steady supply of rice. Egyptian laborers folded these new, high-energy global commodities into their existing lentils to create a denser, cheaper source of fuel. This was the birth of Koshary. It wasn't designed by chefs, it was assembled by workers needing to fit maximum carbohydrates into a single affordable bowl. Today, Koshary is Egypt's national street food and a UNESCO-recognized masterpiece of carbohydrate engineering. The recipe remains flexible, appearing in coastal Alexandrian versions with fried eggs and even Japanese adaptations topped with avocado. By 2020, it was distilled into an instant cup, the ultimate modern version of fast, high-energy fuel. History isn't just found in golden tombs. The true story of human survival is preserved in the cheap, evolving comfort foods that have fueled everyday people for 5,000 years.